right. Anyway, fam, please, please, please hit that like button if you are in the building. We got some business to take care of today. Listen, mid to late March. So you got about 2 to 3 weeks, maybe 4. But I don't like to do too much leading up to my birthday weekend. So, but Making Hispanics, that is the book club book. Please try to pick it up. Please try to read it. We're going to have a lot to talk about when we talk about it. I will tell, the next time we get together, I'll give you the date. I just didn't have time to do it, but I'll give you the date next time. Probably the third. It's usually the last weekend. I don't really want to do it, but I might have to, but we're going to see. Just pick up the book and start reading, and I'll let you know how fast or slow to read, okay? All right, I appreciate you. Now, listen, if you're in there, please hit that like button. Please try to share the video. Please hit that bell. Make sure you hit always get notifications. If the option, you want to always get those kinds of notifications and things like that. So please do that as well. I would appreciate it. Turned on too many lights today. I might turn it off in a second. So please do that. I would absolutely appreciate it. It's creating a glare. Now let me put something else up really quick. Also, what else you got to do? You got to like. If you want to donate, you can go to patreon.com/ycarnell, right? You can do that. You can donate brown.com. You can $ Breaking Brown at Cash App. But listen, hitting that subscribe money costs you nothing if you are new here. Hitting that like button costs you nothing. Hitting that bell costs you nothing. So please do that. Now I want to put this up really quick. Hold on 1 second, because I turned on too many lights. I want y'all, did y'all get to see this today? All right, I'm back, fam. I am absolutely back. Did y'all get to listen to this podcast? If not, make sure sometime tomorrow or some other time that you take a listen to it. It is interesting because Obama once again makes the case against reparations. Now, it is something for the first black president to make the case against reparations. Made it better than any white person ever could. As a matter of fact, what he said, I got to pay attention. Let me go to my notes. He said class fixes race. That's what he said. Now, we know that's not true. So, obviously, Mr. Obama, in his conversation with Bruce Springsteen, doesn't understand wealth. He doesn't understand that wealth is not income, and he doesn't understand race. See, all that time at that Punahou High School with them elite people, and then in Indonesia, you haven't been here. You don't know what race is, right? And what right have you to say anything about that? But let's go to his exact points. Let's get a man credit or tear him apart, eviscerate him, take all the meat off the bone based on what he said. So let's go to some stuff he said in his case. I want to make sure I get all the points. I normally try to go through without looking at notes, but I don't want to leave any stone unturned in this conversation. You understand me? So he starts off. This is the most interesting part. He and Bruce Springsteen are talking, and he starts off talking about how, he's talking about how white people have a right to be aggrieved if black people or ADOS, because it's not just black people talking about ADOS, descendants of slavery, get reparations. And then Bruce Springsteen says, well, is that we can't pay reparations? We can give money to banks. We can bail out banks. We can't do reparations. Now, Obama is untoward about that. He is not. It is a whole kerfuffle. You understand me? Because he did not anticipate that this white man who just came on talking about Unify America was going to say, how come you, not we, you, Mr. Obama, bailed out the banks, but you can't bail out these black people who got you elected, these people who turned red states blue for you. How come you ain't do that? Bruce don't really seem to understand that. I don't either. Ain't it something? Ain't it just something? When Bruce Springsteen understands race better than Obama. Now, this is something. Let me just do one thing. Hold on 1 second. So go back to one thing. Let's go back to one thing. Let's take this point by point. Obama starts off talking. You have to pay careful attention to language. Obama starts off talking about how, theoretically, we can talk or discuss reparations like it's not a real thing. This is a theoretical thing. Now understand, this is not something that's different than what he said before. Let's go back a minute. Let's just take a trip back. Let's just take a trip back to him and Ta-Nehisi Coates having a conversation. He said something similar. I don't even know what the point of having a first black president is. If your first black president opposes reparations, why are you even here, Mr. Change we can't believe in? I can't believe in nothing you said. Ain't nothing changed after you left. Everybody's still in the same position and we're worse off. What kind of change was that? I didn't vote for nobody to tell me how we can't do nothing, how we can't fix something, how hard it's going to be. I voted for Obama the first time, but I didn't vote for that. I voted for change we can't believe in. Instead, we got somebody who said we can't do that. We can't even advocate that. We can't even really talk about that because we might make racists upset with us. And he said that in this Better is Good interview. Now understand, while you're reading this, understand one thing. Just understand one thing while you're reading it. Why? Because what I'm about to bring up, because I'm going to bring up something. Just understand that Obama, please understand this. Obama says better is good. What you have to understand about better is good is this. Better is good only if you have no vision. If you have no vision for your people, your country, then better is good because you have no real place that you want to aim to. You have no real ambition that you want to achieve. You are not a real leader. You're just somebody to kind of, be a bureaucrat in that space because you've had an ambition all your life, because you have a hole to fill because of your father abandoning you, your mama abandoning you. There's some real psychological things going on with Obama. But when somebody tells you better is good, they're telling you that they have no vision, they have no values, they have nothing that they hold dear, that they're going to say, I want this. This is what I want. For my group, I want this. Or for America, I want this. I want people to have this. You should have that before you get to the White House. What you want America to look like, how you want to shape it. If better is good, you're just trying to improve on some stuff some other folk did. But let me just go back to remind everybody that Obama been this same. He been the same person. The same word theoretical comes up in his conversation with Ta-Nehisi. It is easy to make that theoretical argument, but as a practical matter, it is hard to think of any society in human history in which a majority population has said that as a consequence of historic wrongs, we are now going to take big chunks of the nation's resources over a long period of time to make that right. You can look at examples like post-war Germany, where reparations were paid to Holocaust families, but there's always a but, right? But it ain't the same thing. Well, it kind of is. They're still paying out Holocaust reparations now. They consider it standing in the shoes. It kind of is very similar. And even if it's not, we're talking about what justice looks like, not what the world has ever done before. What does justice look like? So here it goes. The bottom line is that it's hard to find a model in which you can practically administer and sustain political support for those kinds of efforts. And what makes America complicated as well is the degree to which this is not just a black and white society. And it is becoming less so every year. So how do Latinos feel if there's a big investment just in the African American community and they're looking around and saying, well, we're poor as well. What kind of help are we getting? Now let me take this off the screen for just a second to say something I already said. If you came here of free will, America owes you nothing. There is no debt. You came here for a better life. And what I would like to see is America cease these adventures abroad where we destabilize countries, right? That's something that we have to do in our politics. But in terms of domestically, you have no debt. That is what you say to Latinos. Nobody owes you anything. Now, I do agree with, in terms of Americans, raising the floor. Just not before you pay for reparations. You have to raise the floor. The floor is too low. It's lower than any first world country. That is one of the things that you would tell a Latino person. But see, this is Obama. See, it's easy for Obama. Y'all got to understand this. Obama's grandmother was a bank executive. His mother was somebody who just never settled down and ran around all the time and left him in high school to go back to Indonesia to do God knows what. You know, if this was a black woman, you would call her all kinds of things. But because she's a white woman, nobody ever says she's a bad parent. If this was Valerie or Tanya or Taniqua, you would say, oh my gosh, she left her children. What kind of mother does that? You would say that, but you won't ever say that about Obama's mama. You'll say it about his Kenyan daddy because he's still black, even though he's not ADOS, but you won't ever say it about his mama. But that mama abandoned her child, and he has lived out his insecurities for a long time. But I'm just telling you what to say to the Latinos and the Asians and everybody else. See, what you have to do, Obama, since you're just a tool of white supremacy, what you have to do, your job is not just to kind of put your finger out and say, well, which way is the wind blowing? Oh, I can only go that way because the wind is only going, the current is going that way. That's the only way I can go. I'm so sorry, I can't help you. Your job is also to influence people and say, not only what can we do, but this is what we need to do, what we should be doing. But it's easy for somebody who inherited money from his bank executive mother, who went to an elite high school, right? Who led a white life. So you don't need it. And even if reparations, you know, in terms of the grandfathering in, you got to go back to a grandparent. So you don't get to slip in because you got a black daddy and a white mama, and she might have a slave in her background. You can't slip in. So what happens, Obama, if you don't need it because of the money you inherited from your grandmama, and you're not owed it, it's easy to say black people shouldn't have it. But that's why we never should have elected you. You were never going to side with us. You were never going to be there for us. You were never going to advocate for us. So let's just finish this out. Or Asian Americans who say, look, I'm first generation immigrant, and clearly I didn't have anything to do with what is taking place. And now you start trying to calibrate. And Ta-Nehisi Coates says, and I appreciate that. And the question I would ask is, in that situation, to the immigrant who comes here first generation and says, I didn't do any of this, but the country is largely here because of that. In other words, many of the benefits that you will actually enjoy are, in fact, I won't say largely, I would, in part here because of the past. So when you want the benefits, when you invoke the past, thus you inherit the debt. Yeah, you pay all of America's debts. I might not want to bomb Yemen, but that's what my tax dollars are paid for. Y'all okay with bombing everybody with your tax dollars? White America, people of color America, immigrant America, but you're not okay with paying Negroes who paved the way for you to be here. Oh, y'all sorry. Let me just this little quote from Obama. Yeah. I mean, I guess here's the way, probably the best way of saying it is that you can make a theoretical, abstract argument in favor of something like reparations. And maybe I'm just not being sufficiently optimistic or imaginative enough. You've never been sufficiently anything enough. Imaginative, courageous, nothing. You are not sufficient as a person, as a president, as even a content person now. You ain't never been that. That ain't nothing new. And he said a lot. I brought that up to show you that he's saying the same thing. Right there, that he said in the interview. He said in the interview with Bruce Springsteen, there needs to be a recognition. Let me tell you something. Obama's so full of it. See, people don't understand why I can't stand Obama. I can't stand that man because he's so full of crap. We don't need a recognition. Now, you can give me a recognition with the money, with the wealth. That's fine. I don't care what you give me a flower with it or something. I don't care. You can do that. We are a group that has been plundered. All of our inventions, all of our labor, intellectual property, everything that we have had has been plundered. We don't need a recognition. We need you to repay the debt. You don't repay the debt with loans. You don't repay the debt with equity or equality. Equality means I'm the same as somebody who just crossed the border yesterday. I ain't the same. We not the same. That's what equality means. Y'all all equal now. Now go. No. No. I'm not equal. Just like I'm not equal with the Mexican who just plopped over the border. I'm not equal to the white woman who just inherited money from her grandpappy, right? Because I don't have anything to inherit. We're not equal. We're not the same. Really, what I need is elevation on the hierarchy. And you only get that. You only get that with a redistribution of wealth, which is a payment of the debt that is owed. That's the only way it happens. And Obama seems not only does he not care about the people who got him elected, he was just cosplaying. You was never us. You was never us. People, we built you though. In Chicago, Jesse Jackson Jr., who your administration prosecuted, who didn't run for the Senate because you were going to run, and then after you got in the White House, you prosecuted that man. Now, I'm not saying Jesse Jackson Jr. was right, but you got to understand Obama's character. He don't have none. He doesn't have it. So let's get to something. We don't need a recognition. We need to be able to inherit wealth. Because Obama said something else about it. Well, I think right now we could just make everybody. Let me see if I can find that quote. If we could just make everybody equal, okay, we could just be all right. And Coates told him then, because Obama said the same thing. Well, you're supposed to be optimistic. He's just lazy. Obama's just he's a lazy person. He don't have, like, if you don't know what to fight for, you just kind of standing here, ain't you? Like, if you don't know what I want to fight for, he said, well, I thought I was, but I'm not optimistic as to think that you would ever be able to garner a majority of an American Congress that would make those kinds of investments above and beyond the kinds of investments that could be made in progressive programs, lifting up all people. Class don't fix race. So to restate it, I have much more confidence in my ability, or any president or leader's ability, to mobilize the American people around a multi-year, multi-billion-dollar investment to help every child in poverty in this country, that I am in being able to mobilize the country around providing a benefit specific to African Americans as a consequence of slavery and Jim Crow, and a whole lot of other stuff. But here's the thing, because here's what he said on the show. He said a recognition, this was on the show, a recognition, get the country to, he says you would never get the country to agree, or can you ever get the country to agree on that history, or own that history? Well, if it doesn't, we're kind of doomed. And Obama's okay with that. Obama's okay if we're doomed, I think he's fine. I think he's fine. If it don't work out for black people, I got shows, I got content, I got a lot of stuff I can do that don't involve Negroes. This is the same man, we all know this is the same man that never dated a black woman before Michelle Obama that I've ever seen. And he cheated on Michelle Obama with a white woman. Y'all remember that article? Where the white woman said they was arguing all the time. He was dating Michelle, and then he came and was with her family. They was arguing, and he said he had to have a black woman because he was going to run for office in Chicago. This is the man that we elected as the first black president. Ooh, we failed on that one. We really missed it. We really, really, really missed it. Because here's the thing. Let me just slow down and say one thing. You should support, and you can support something even if you think you can't get it done. So let's say Obama says, you know what? I'm not going to be able to get reparations done. This Tea Party thing or whatever, it's not going to happen. But the practical reality, I can try, and you should try, but it's not going to happen. What you then do when you talk to Ta-Nehisi Coates is you say, listen, this is absolutely necessary. It absolutely must happen. I think there's way too much venom and hatred of me right now to make that happen. But America owes this debt and America must pay this debt. That's what you say and that's what you do. The first black president shouldn't kill reparations again and again and again. Because he killed it. He killed it before he got elected. This isn't the first time he's killed the idea of reparations. Understand, this man killed redress for the people who turned, red states blue for him. You made a bunch of white millionaires, Obama. You let Wells Fargo and all the bankers who took advantage of the community you claim. It's not your community. We know who you really are, Martha's Vineyard. We know we're not really you and you're not really us. But the people who put you in, you let them take advantage of us. Nobody went to jail. They paid a fine, a little slap on the wrist. Nothing happened. Your administration, in terms of ADOS, your administration is an absolute failure. You will not be remembered in the history books. I'm confident of it. Neither will George W. Bush, but at least he went away to paint and shut up. You should have shut up. Nobody asked you to talk. Nobody thinks you're cute or deep or nothing like that. You're not deep. That's nothing deep about what you said. The only thing you said is that I can't do it. Even if you can't do it, you make the case for it. This thing should absolutely happen. This debt is owed. It didn't cost you nothing to say that. But you know what? You're always, Obama, you're always on the side of like, how can I ingratiate myself to white racists? That's why you was always meeting with the Tea Party, trying to find a way with them. That's always what you're doing. You were always the ingratiator in chief. You were never the commander in chief. You don't have it in you. It's not a part of you. You want to be president and be ambitious to resolve something within yourself. It was never about something like a real defined America that you wanted to see. It's sad to see Freud, a kind of Freudian thing, play out with Obama. But that's who he was. That's just who he was. Now what you have is McConnell saying, see, if you had said, I absolutely agree. I don't know if I can get it through, but I absolutely agree the reparations is necessary. Now, Mitch McConnell can say, I agree with Obama. That I oppose reparations too. You gave racist white America a talking point, and you know it. If the first black president don't agree with reparations, they saying, why should white people? You are an impediment to us, and we never should have elected you. Nothing more than dog catcher. How you got elevated to that status is beyond me. We should have never done that. I think, honestly. See, this is what he says. Let me just go this. This is what I mean when I say better is hard. Just making sure that right now folks aren't being ripped off. That's a challenge. Yeah, it's a challenge to you, Obama. Everything's a challenge to you. You go to bed early. I remember when I was in Chicago and data started coming out when black folk walk into an auto dealership, and women too. See how he does that? It's just ridiculous. Let's go to the next one. Ain't nothing here. Obama. Oh, I absolutely could comprehend it. A couple of them refused. Hold on a second. 2021. Oh, I know what he's talking about. Understand what this Latino man did. Now understand what we do. We just loved Obama. Obama gave us, his butt to kiss, but we just loved him. Listen to this. A couple of them refused because they're 20 or 21. I mean, that's why they refused to shake his hand. Latinos, right? It's the same when we were working on immigration reform. There was a young Latino man, a young immigration activist here, who in the Roosevelt room refused to shake my hand. Coates, are you serious? Coach just like absolutely, Obama said, and I'm going around the table shaking everybody's hands, and he's making a point of saying I can't shake your hand because you're deporting too many of my people. And I just say to him, young man, I'm glad you feel that you feel so passionately about this issue, but you're with the president right now in the White House. You've got to think about what's going to be most effective in getting what you need, what you're trying to accomplish. because this is not your best strategy. But let me tell you one thing that Latino man did. You remember it. You remember it enough. It bothered you enough that you told Ta-Nehisi Coates about it. We have not bothered Obama or anybody else enough that they think about that stuff and they bring it up later. Oh, that Latino man bothered you, and he was mad about people being deported who weren't even citizens here. You mad about that. We mad about a redress and a plunder of 400 years, and we don't want to really get upset and turn up. That Latino man is mad about people who've been deported who ain't citizens. You broke the law to get here. Yeah, you get deported. He mad about that. We ain't mad about nothing. You want to make politicians mad. Everybody get mad. Oh, Yvette, see, you just too disagreeable. You just gotta talk to people better. Child, you don't ever get into a room by talking to people better. You get in the room by showing up with numbers. Refusing to be ignored. You don't get into a room, well, hey, I think we can kind of come to some kind of compromise. And, something Obama said too. He said, he understands why white people would be upset if we get reparations or whatever. And Obama's a racist. I'm sorry. Because white people should, to the extent that they are upset, for valid reasons, you should be upset at your government. We ain't never did nothing to you. Took care of your babies, farmed your land. We ain't never did nothing to you. Your government is the reason that the floor is so low. And so you poor white people fall below it. That ain't got nothing to do with us. We didn't do that to you. So what you should be calling for is a robust welfare state and safety net. That doesn't mean positioning yourself against reparations. Obama, I'm sure you could make that argument, but you are just as racist as any other white or people of color racist I've ever come in contact with. We elected a racist as the first black president. How's that for success? And we're going to get to this stuff in a minute about Obama talking about he punched somebody in the nose. I'm tired of Obama lying to everybody. It's just getting out of hand. It's getting out of hand. And it's getting out of hand too. Well, it's all about what people will accept, Everybody ain't going to really accept the fact that ADOS get reparations. Everybody ain't going to really listen. Either you're in favor of justice or you're not. And Obama, it's your job to make the case for it. Even if you're not ADOS and you ain't, the thing that you have to do, because ADOS still got you in that White House, you still have to make the case for it. Make a good case. You can do it. You just don't care. And where is Michelle? Michelle, you don't think your people should get reparations? You ain't talking. You just on TV. Ain't she got some new TV show coming on with Muppets? What is going on? Muppets and waffles and healthy eating and stuff like that. What are y'all doing? We're going over a cliff. And Michelle, you need to step in too, because we wouldn't have voted for this man if you hadn't been the wife. So get in here and clean him up. Oh, but you're a careerist sellout too. I got you. So Obama says we should talk about it. Now the funniest thing is, he says too, like if everything is fair in college, like if college is fair, then we'll have people with better incomes. Income is not wealth, Obama. And yes, I absolutely agree that we should do something about colleges to prevent them from discriminating against ADOS specifically. And I don't care whether you call us ADOS in terms of the specificity or Native Black Americans. I don't care. But there has to be something. Yes, I agree with that. But let me tell you what. If Daquan or Anthony, right, or Malik, right, or Thomas, if an ADOS gets into an expensive institution and they can't pay for it, there's no intergenerational wealth, there's no inheritance, it doesn't fix the problem, Obama. You idiot. It doesn't fix the problem just saying we want to end discrimination and have. No, you have to have money. America requires money. That's what wealth is, and it's inherited and it's passed down, and we don't have it. And you are an embarrassment, not to us, but embarrassment to us because we voted for you. I only voted for you one time, but it's an embarrassment to us that we voted for you, and you are now arguing against us while the white man is like advocating for us. You are an embarrassment. Better is good. It's the point of a black president if they take anti-ADOS positions on everything. What is the point? Yeah, you love getting elected though. So let me just get into like a brief background of Obama too, in terms of some of the other stuff he said about what Obama actually said in his. I want to make it clear that this isn't the first time Obama has always been opposed to reparations. He said it. Mitch McConnell said, "I agree with Obama." He said, and he said, we both. This is Mitch McConnell. We both oppose reparations, and we both are the descendants of slave owners. How did we elect a descendant of slave owners like that? I mean, not like us, like rape and stuff. I mean, an actual like your mama was white, and that's what it. How do we do that? We got to fix that. While campaigning in 2008, Obama shared his views on the issue in an NAACP questionnaire. He said, I fear that reparations would be an excuse for some to say we've paid our debt and avoid the much harder work of enforcing our anti-discrimination laws in employment and housing." Now remember, even though I was a Bernie supporter in 2016 before seeing that data, remember this was Bernie's point of view. They just keep switching it up and changing and giving it to each other. The much harder work of making sure that our schools are not separate but unequal. The much harder work of providing jobs. That's not the much harder work. If that was the much harder work, we wouldn't be fighting so hard for reparations. Training programs, rehabilitating, blah, 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 young men, blah, 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 blah. Understand something. Instead of giving us reparations, Obama gave us My Brother's Keeper. You have to understand that. Like, this is what Obama gave us instead of reparations or any policy. He gave us charity. Charity is not policy. Charity is never going to be policy. He said, hey, I'm going to find some nice white people to throw y'all some money. This is not systemic. You have to have something that is policy built into elected. This is part of the law. And he threw this little junk in the last leg of his administration. Just to make it look like I did something for the American Negroes. Take that. Be happy. Shut up. Don't bother me. That's what Obama did. And that's what let's go back to here. Let's go back real quick. He says he wants all the black children and the white children, every black child in America, but also every white Latino child. But just stick with every black child in America is getting a really good education, and they're graduating from high school at the rates that whites are, and they are going to college at the rates that whites are, and they are able to afford college at the rates at the same rates, because the government has universal programs that say that you're going to be barred from school, just that you're not going to be barred from school just by how much money your parents have. What kind of country is this where you're not going to be barred from school by just what kind of money your parents have? What kind of America? Obama didn't make that in America. Obama, you created a lot of white millionaires, but you didn't make that true. And that goes to what I say. Obama's own 8 years are a testament against what he's preaching here. Your own 8 years, you didn't do what you call on as a solution. The racial wealth gap expanded during your tenure, Obama. So the stuff that you were doing or trying to do failed. But let's just finish off. So now they're all graduating. This is some kind of utopia. People tell us reparations is a utopia and a dream. This is some kind of weird dream. And let's say also that the Justice Department and the courts are making sure, as I've said in the speech before, that when Jamal sends his resume in, he's getting treated the same as when Johnny sends his resume in. Did your Justice Department make sure that, Obama? You and Eric Holder didn't do that. Y'all didn't even dissolve these racist polices. Did you know the Justice Department can resolve racist police stations and stuff? You can just get rid of them. Y'all didn't do that. You're calling for something that you yourself were even unwilling to do. The fact that you were not able or willing to do it lets you know that that's not going. If it was going to work, if that was the path, why didn't you do it? If that was the path, you didn't even advocate for half the stuff you're talking about, Obama. If that was the path, why didn't it happen? That's the path. You said that's the path. That path didn't happen during your administration. That path didn't even happen during your first, what was it, 2 years when you had control of the Congress? You didn't advocate that as the path. You never had a transformative path, even in terms of class-based politics. The fact that none of this happened during your administration lets us know that even your vision or the vision that you say you have doesn't work. Sure, it doesn't work for us because we're worse off after you. You said, yeah, this stuff right here working, and that's what I'm doing. But we're worse off now that you're gone. We didn't benefit from having the first black president. No. A lot of white millionaires were created, but not us. Not us. What is this man talking about? Let me see what else. You know, and it's also something. Let me see if I can find this. There's also something that's just so very interesting. Obama talks all this stuff about, I couldn't do, white people ain't going to go for that. I'm not going to say nothing about, I can't see white America going for this. They're not going to really go for this because they suffering too. So they're not going to really go for reparations. You know what else white America didn't really kind of go for? Immigration. White America did not really go for it. I could make a case. I could write a paper on how Obama's views on immigration or Obama's policies on immigration, DACA and all that other stuff led to Trump. Trump's thing wasn't just make America great again. What else was it, everybody? It was build a wall. You don't care. You don't you say I'm just doing this. I can't see white America getting on board with this. But why don't you didn't care when white America wasn't getting on board with DACA and all the stuff that you were talking about, right? A huge swath of America, white America could not get on board with that. But that didn't bother you. Why? It seems to me that in certain instances, if there are certain swaths of white America that will get on board, you're okay with it. You're just not okay with it if it's ADOS. Then there's a whole another class of white America that needs that easily exploitable labor, because it's not about if you think these people at the top care about immigrants, I'm talking to you too. If y'all think they care about y'all and that's why they like it because you can't join a union, you're not going to get too loud. That's what it's about. These people at the top don't care about you either. Obama don't care about you either. But it's funny to me that you could oppose a whole bunch of people. You didn't have no problem opposing a whole bunch of white people who were anti-immigration and who then swarmed to Trump, right? Because Trump was saying build a wall. And your policies and position, and you're turning away. Initially, you were like, DACA's unconstitutional. And then you were like, well, I guess I'm going to do an executive order. And that was the thing that Trump used to build himself up and get elected. I could make a case, Obama, that you're responsible for Trump. But the real point is that you do what you want to do. It ain't about white people you don't want to upset them. Well, a lot of it is. Some of it is because you're a coward. I understand that. But you choose times to really, when people put pressure on you, you really kind of find your way through it. And the problem that we have, ADOS, is that we don't put enough effort into pressuring people. Don't nobody care what Obama say. He ain't nobody. This man is a cosplaying activist. He wasn't no real activist. You ever seen that documentary on Obama when he was an activist? The most he did was there were a bunch of black women who were actually doing activism and advocating for themselves. And somebody tried to stop him from speaking. Obama was in the back of the room saying, let us speak, let us speak. You gotta let us speak. That was his claim to fame, saying, let us speak. He didn't organize nothing. Ooh, we just voted for somebody who was just nothing. A nothing and a nobody. Come on, fam. Like, Obama's whole administration is proof of the failure of incrementalism. Obama's presidency is actually what Dr. King preached against. This idea of incrementalism. Dr. King said, no, it don't work that way. It can't work that way for us. It's a dodge. It's just postponing justice. Your whole legacy, Obama, is a condemnation of Dr. King. That's why we should have never let you stand on that bridge in Selma and claim it as your own. It never belonged to you. And if at that moment, if somebody had knocked you off, we would have known what the truth was. You should never have been there. You went there and you claimed that bridge as your own when nobody in your family was a part of the movement, was a part of, in this country. From sharecroppers to slaves, you had no blood spill, and we allowed you to claim yourself as part of Selma, and we never should have done that. And John Lewis never should have co-signed you to do that. You should have ran as a white person, because that's who you are. That's how you act. That's how you behave. You're a racist. Martha's Vineyard champagne sipping. Michelle's your first black woman having. Go do something else. That was never your bridge. And you never stood for what the people stood for on that bridge. You are a condemnation. You are to everything we stand for. You stand for nothing that ADOS stands for. You don't have the courage that ADOS and all the freedom fighters that come before us have had. You lack everything necessary to be a courageous human being. And that's why you get on the podcast, and that's why you go to NAACP, and that's why you go everywhere and say stuff that undermines us and our justice claim. Nobody needed you to be a weather vane and say, I don't think this gonna pass. I didn't elect nobody to say, well, I don't know. I can't tell you. I hope y'all be all right. You don't understand race. You don't understand wealth. You don't understand ADOS life. And we elected you president. Whoo, we're going to be living that one down for a long time. You know, I say a lot of times on this show, government chooses winners and losers because it does. And I want to just share something with you real quick. To just, while we're talking about Obama, please understand that Obama always told us that, like, government is powerful. And Obama always told us that he was never going to use the weight of the American government to assist us in any way. And he did it in a number of ways. But one of the most memorable ways was in his commencement at Morehouse. I will never forget this. Because what an American president, regardless of race, should be saying to ADOS and black people is that I'm going to help you. America dug a hole for you, and I'm going to help you get out. That America has a responsibility to you, and I'm going to help you. As the president of America, I'm going to be the person, at least while I'm here, right? To make sure America owns up to those responsibilities. That was supposed to be the Morehouse speech. But again, this cowardly man does what cowardly people do. Here's what he said. We've got no time for excuses. Not because the bitter legacies of slavery and segregation have vanished entirely. They have not. Not because racism and discrimination no longer exist. We know those are still out there. Not out there, they're in here. He says, it's just that in today's hyper-connected, hyper-competitive world, with millions of young people from China and India and Brazil, many of whom started with a lot less than all of you did, all of them entering the global workforce alongside you, Nobody is going to give you anything. Even me. I put that in there though, but Obama's basically saying nobody's going to give you anything, even me. I'm not giving you nothing. Nobody's going to give you anything that you have not earned. Here's what he says. This is the first black president at Morehouse. Nobody cares how tough your upbringing was. Nobody cares if you suffered discrimination. The first black president don't even care. Nobody cares if you suffer discrimination. And moreover, you have to remember that whatever you've gone through, it pales in comparison to the hardships generations have endured and overcome. How would you know, Obama? You grew up in a white family. How would you know what their lives look like? You didn't live that life. Stop talking about a life you haven't lived. You never lived that life. You grew up with a silver coconut in your mouth. And if they overcome them, you can overcome them too. Let me tell you something. This is not policy. Obama could have gotten up there and said, I'm going to make sure that you're not going to be discriminated against in terms of, not even with reparations. He didn't have to even mention, I'm going to make sure that you're not going to be discriminated against in your housing. I'm going to ensure, in terms of the Justice Department, right, that you are not harassed by the police. We are going to dismantle police departments that harass black people, especially black men. We are going to do that in the name of Morehouse. I am going to make sure that you have access to a mortgage and that you're not in a red line community and that you are not targeted by banks or anybody else because of your zip code. I, Obama, am going to make sure that you have access to an SBA loan and you are not on my watch. That's what he should have said, but he's a coward and he's weak and he's not us. And he got there and it was what he did on that stage was abominable. Because you're supposed to be protecting all of us, especially those black men who are graduating. They don't need to hear from you no excuses, Obama. They graduated. They didn't have no white grandmama like you had to get them money. They did it on their own. Those who are ADOS especially. They went through stuff you could never endure with your weak self. And you don't get to get on that stage and tell them that not only are you not going to do nothing for them, but they don't have no excuse and they got to compete against China and whoever else with no protections from you, from not only being ADOS, but being a citizen. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. And we should feel shame for elevating this man. Lastly, here's what Obama says. With his magic talk. There is no impossible. There is no unbelievable. There is no unachievable. If you have the audacity to hope. The audacity to hope. He's a goofy little man too. Whatever success I have achieved, whatever positions leadership I've held, have depended less on Ivy League degrees or SAT or GPAs, and have instead been due to the sense of connection and empathy, obligation, the obligation I felt as a black man, like you, Obama. You are nothing like those men. To help those who need it most, people who didn't have the opportunities that I had. Oh, child, but for the grace of God. You got that from us. You didn't grow up saying before the grace of God. Didn't nobody say before the grace of God in Punahou. Didn't nobody say before the grace of God in Indonesia. Didn't nobody say before the grace of God in Hawaii. Stop picking up stuff and using it as your own. Didn't nobody say but for the grace of God. You just stop cosplaying. He's still cosplaying. He was sounding a little bit like a preacher on the Springsteen thing. Let me just say one thing before we go. Obama didn't get punched. Obama ain't broke nobody's nose. Somebody gonna have to give me the medical records. Y'all see what Obama said? He broke somebody's nose. Let me tell you something. Obama couldn't even. He said the person called him the C word. He said I broke his nose. I was playing basketball. He told Springsteen that. Go listen to the podcast. He said I broke his nose because he called me the C word. Obama couldn't even fight white supremacists as the president of these United States of America. Do you think he broke somebody's nose in Punahou? I want to see the medical record. Anybody read any of Obama's 3 memoirs? Is it anywhere in his 3 memoirs that he broke somebody's nose? Somebody tell me in the chat if you read it. Did he break any nose? Like everybody, you say to me, oh, Yvette, I don't know why you don't like Obama. Obama, he blacker than you. I don't know why you don't like him. And I used to just be like, wait a minute. After he got elected, it was just apparent he wasn't gonna do nothing for us. And then you gonna say this nigga right here? You talking about him? This nigga right here? He blacker than who? Where he grew up? This man grew up in Indonesia under a coconut tree. And then the way he got treated, the man talks about how, everywhere is diverse. Listen, that was a great article. I can't remember who put it up under my thread. But shout out to you. Somebody put this up under one of my threads. And I said, oh, this is perfect. The little Indonesian children they took Obama and threw him into a swamp. They took him by his hands and feet. But that's not the point. I'm just talking about some of the trauma Obama went through when his mama was just scallywagging everywhere around the globe and doing whatever. He didn't get punched in the face because the man is a pathological liar. So what do you mean, Yvette? Well, this article was interesting in certain ways. So let me just bring up a couple and then we'll go to the phones. In his best-selling autobiography, Dreams from My Father, Obama describes having heated conversations about racism with another black student, Ray. The real Ray, Keith Kakugawa, is half black and half Japanese. In an interview with the Tribune on Saturday, Kakugawa said he always considered himself mixed race, like so many of his friends in Hawaii, and was not an angry black man. See, Obama had everybody thinking that I was having heated conversations with black people, with the brothers. Me and the brothers was talking, we was talking jive turkey. You know what I mean on that? No, that man was half Japanese. He said, I was just like you. I don't know. I'm not talking about no racial stuff. That's not even how we got down. You made up. Obama be out here making up whole stories. Here you go again. Just saying stuff. He said he does recall long, soulful talks with the young Obama that his friend confided his longing and loneliness. But those talks, Kakugawa, my American tongue said, were not about race, not even close. He said, adding that Obama was dealing with some inner turmoil in those days. So wait a minute, it wasn't about race? No, Obama just be making stuff up. He just be making stuff up, just whole lies. Just like, I punched him out. No, you didn't, Obama. You never punched nobody out. Obama has claimed on numerous occasions that to have become fluent in Indonesian in 6 months. Yet those who knew him disputed that during interviews. Israela Pereira Damawan, Obama's first grade teacher, says she attempted to help him learn the Indonesian language by going over pronunciation and vowel sounds. He struggled. He struggled greatly with the foreign language, she said, and with his studies as a result. Child, he said, I learned it in 6 months. Child, you just told a whole lie. You've been lying a long time, Obama, these memoirs. The teacher, who still lives in Obama's old neighborhood, remembers that he always sat in the back corner of the classroom. His friends called him Negro. Third grade teacher, Fermina Katrina Sinaga, now 67, has perhaps the most telling story. In an essay about what he wanted to be when he grew up, Obama wrote he wanted to be president. Sinaga recalled. He didn't say what country he wanted to be president of, but he wanted to make everybody happy. You see, that's why he don't have no real ambition. That's why he don't have no real goals. He's always been treated poorly and just wanted to make everybody happy. Why doesn't anybody like me? Rick Smith, a black Punahou student 2 years older than Obama, that's that elite private school, if you forget, that Obama went to, remembers a Halloween when white students would dress as slaves, coming to school in tattered clothes with their faces painted black with shoe polish, Like being black was a funny costume in and of itself, recalled Smith, now a doctor who specialized in geriatrics in California. As a result, a handful of black students in Punahou informally banded together. The brothers, as Lewis Anthony Jr., an African American in the class of 1977 put it, hung out together, often talking about issues involving race and civil rights. They sought out parties, especially at military bases on the island, where African Americans would be in attendance. Obama, however, was not part of that group, according to Anthony and Smith. Both of them seemed surprised to hear that in Dreams, which neither of them had read, Obama writes about routinely going to parties at Schofield Barracks and other military bases in order to hang out with Ray, who, like Anthony and Smith, was 2 years ahead of him in school. We do things together, but Obama was never there. Obama wasn't hanging out with no black people. He ain't never did that. Smith said, adding that they often brought along the few other black underclassmen. I went to those parties up at Schofield, but never saw him at any of them. Child, he told you he was hanging out with the Negroes, and he wasn't hanging out with the Negroes. He was not hanging out with the Negroes. Here's one of his white friends, Ormy, however you pronounce it, a smart, respectful teenager from a white middle-class family. Though Ormy spent most afternoons with Obama and considered him one of his closest friends, he said Obama never brought up the issues of race, never talked about feeling out of place at Punahou. He never verbalized any of that. Orme said during a telephone interview from his home in Oregon, he was very provocative thinker. He would bring up worldly topics far beyond his years, but we never talked about race. Of course you didn't. Of course you didn't. Of course you didn't, Obama. Race only came a part of the conversation when it became a time for you to run for president. But let me just say one thing to you, Obama. I want everybody to stop talking to me about how practical reparations is, because we've done it before. You know, when you say, well, how will white people feel? Well, how did they feel about reparations to Guam? How did they feel about reparations to the Japanese? Right? But I would expect somebody who was in Punahou and never hung out with black people, or rarely did, right? And I would expect somebody like that to not understand how you have to advocate and what you need to do. I'll say it again. You never should have been on that bridge at Selma. We always should have said, no, this is where we draw the line. You can run as a candidate and run on issues that are important to black America, women, whoever, but you can't run as an ADOS candidate. You can't run on blackness in America, because that's not what you are. Even if you're a black American, you can't run on that, because you're not anchored in that. And we should have said that to him, but we didn't. And I hope that if Kamala runs again, we can say that to her. We're not biased against you, but we will vote or not vote for you based on your agenda. We have no affinity to you. We understand who you are. We understand that we are not the same. We have no affinity to you or for you. We will vote for you based on your agenda and that agenda alone. And I think in this interview with Bruce Springsteen, Obama really kind of showed his true colors. He's always shown them, though. It's not like they were hidden from us. He's out of the way, and he's still saying no. You make a good case, it's true and it's just. No. Listen, Obama was always preferential to adhering to whiteness, adhering to what white racists wanted to do, even if that was in opposition to black justice. That's who he is. That's all he's ever going to be. And I think we have to build into ourselves the ability and the desire to do things different politically. And that's all I'll say for now. We'll go to the calls. I'll be right back, fam. And we will, as usual, have the conversation. So give me a few minutes as normal, 3 or 4, and we'll have a conversation. right, family, we are back. I'm going straight into the calls. What is your name? Where are you calling from? And what is on your mind? I am going to 856-856. I'm coming to you.
Good evening, Yvette. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you just fine, family. How you doing?
I'm excellent. How are you?
I'm doing
I get to be the first call.
There you go.
Yes. I am so excited that I get to be the first call. Great show tonight.
Thank you.
Excellent information as usual. I listened to that Obama clip, and you know, you can really see the work that ADOS is putting in as far as pushing the reparations conversation and making it a reality. We all saw how he talked to Ta-Nehisi Coates during their first interview. He has no respect for that man and his viewpoints. You can tell.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to hold you long. I just wanted to say that I appreciate your work, and I would love for you to collaborate with us in South Jersey. I'm part of my NAACP as part of Project Takeover. You probably remember me.
Bravo.
Or not, because you're busy.
No, I probably do.
But we did the Harriet. We canceled the Harriet film when all that.
Oh, I remember that. I remember that. Bravo. Yeah. I remember that.
And now I sit on my executive committee board, and I'm looking to, you know, work with them to go ahead and get this reparation thing moving forward some more. I'm waiting on ADOS HQ as well.
Yeah, we
but
coming.
In the meantime, I am in my local community. We actually have a reparations panel tomorrow because New Jersey has a reparations bill as well, S322 and A711. So tomorrow at 10:45, they're going to be hosting a virtual panel to discuss it. And I would love if you could, you know, look at that and see what New Jersey can do to add to the national conversation.
Can you, if you haven't already sent it to me, can you send it to me at editor@breakingbrown.com?
Yes, I definitely will. I'm going to get off the line, but I'm looking. Oh, hold up. I almost messed myself up. There's another New Jersey branch here that is pushing the reparations conversation, but they're focusing on sending out Professor Verity's books and whatnot, and they've had him speak. I would rather add human tone to the conversation as well. I don't know if you guys would be willing to speak with us if we put something together.
I would.
I'm not affiliated with them.
I would.
But I would love to have you all on,
some,
because when people talk about reparations, you know how sidetracked they get.
They do. They really do. We got some rogue chapters out there that we're gonna deal with when these bylaws finally get done. We're trying to do a good job. But yeah, I would absolutely be willing to speak with you, and I would absolutely be willing to help. You know, I think we have to help out with that. Yeah, and I do agree that like we on 2 years of just like trying to like push a book and push Verity's edits, and I don't think that's going to get us anywhere. But like these people have decided to do their own thing, even though it hasn't worked, which I think is just kind of asinine. And I don't think you can be in a chapter of ADOS and just go rogue. And so, you know, there are chapters after HQ is that it won't be associated with ADOS HQ, and that's just what it is. And I'm fine with that. I'm happy with that, actually.
And I saw that, but you know, this is actually an NAACP branch in Jersey, and you know, we
got another one of them though.
Takeover for a couple years. So
yeah, you've been doing that. You've been doing Project Takeover. You've been doing Project Takeover. You've been doing it, and I appreciate that. Y'all did good work. Y'all did really good work. Even with the Harriet thing, people think that's a small thing. That's a big deal, and people don't understand that. Like,
you know,
and let me say this, fam. People
and the branches need help.
Yeah, and the thing is, let me say this. People don't understand that, yes, we have ADOS. And yes, we're doing ADOS work. And yes, we have ADOS chapters. But you absolutely still need to be influential in other spaces. Saying do Project Takeover isn't a way to kind of dodge doing ADOS. It just means that we have to be everywhere. There are places that, unfortunately, NAACP gets into that ADOS isn't getting into yet because we've been smeared and cast in a certain light that is not true. So you have to, people just don't get it, fam. People just don't get it. But
they don't. And that's another important aspect of Project Takeover, because in my branch, they very much respect the work that you've done, that Antonio has done, and the information that you guys put out. When I called the last time, I said we have to be like the Black Panthers as far as our agenda. Let our agenda be the leader and guide us in spaces when we go. And they need help. They need help. The information is needed. The local branches aren't the national branch. National, I sat in on that meeting this weekend, and you are definitely reaching them, Yvette, because Obama made a comment in his video, and the NAACP president, Derek Johnson, made the comment that civics is not transactional. I I'm like, well, what are you
Well,
guys
politics,
even asking
yeah.
for then? What is
Well,
even your goal? Why are
politics,
you asking for
the thing is,
literally anything you're asking for?
yeah, what's the point? Like politics, people,
What
please,
is the
people need to
point?
please understand. Politics is supposed to improve your material condition. That's what it's supposed to do. Period. Improve your material
Exactly.
condition, and you're supposed to look at these people and say, "Wait a minute, this person promising X, this person promising Y. I like Y a lot more than X." That's what it's always Anybody who tells you it's not transactional, that politics is not transactional, is trying to pull a con on you. Obama said it. Everybody said it. Because I say politics is transactional. I say it's an exchange. Everybody's trying to refute that. No, because you mad that that's what we're doing. It's just what it is, what it is. Everybody else, lobbyists understand it. People who make donations understand. Yep. I'm donating to you big money for a specific thing, and you're going to tell us that's not what it is. No, we're ahead of the curve. We know what it is.
Exactly.
We understand what it
is. And you know, everybody, if you're in South Jersey, Burleson County, come join my NAACP. You are invited. We have a new president because, you know, we switch out every 2 years. Okay. My president would like to become lobbyists. He's like, we're lobbyists now. You know, you don't just get to take photos with us. We need things. And he's actually the one, he and his wife brought it to my attention that this reparations hearing was going on. They say it now. They say it. They speak on it. He doesn't think we're going to get it because, you know, white people aren't ever going to. I'm like, no, sir. No, sir. If that's what we're thinking, if that's our mindset, then why are we doing any of this here? Yeah. You shouldn't be here at all if that's not what you're going for. So I'm working with my friends, and they're very open. We have a great board, a great committee. Again, Southern Burleson County, come see us. And Yvette, I am going to email you. I'm glad I got through because your emails are full. Tone responded to me the last time I reached out, but I'd love to have both of y'all because the conversation is moving, and I would like to be your entry point into the conversation here.
Make sure you put in this.
All I gotta say.
Okay, fam. Make sure you put in the subject line "called in last night NAACP" or something like that, so I can pinpoint it. Yeah, but email me.
I will.
Okay.
I'm editor at Breaking Brown, and I'm going to send you the email from my NAACP email as well. That way,
That's fine.
We can get this going officially because this isn't for games. This isn't for jokes.
This ain't for games. You done said a word, fam. That's a great word to end on. I want to thank you. This is not. We did not come to play. We did not come to play. Thank you, fam. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Absolutely. You know, you can't deal with people. Ain't nobody got no crystal ball. Well, ain't never gonna happen. You can say that at any point of ADOS life. We always gonna be slaves. Just what they white people got us here for, to be slaves. We always gonna have to drink at the white water fountain. That's what the white people got the black water fountain there for. So we don't have no drink. You can always say it ain't gonna never happen. Like, don't you get tired of just being that way, to being the person that you are? Anyway, I'm going to my next caller, 256. 256, I'm coming to you. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hello?
256, what's going on?
Hello? This is James from San Diego.
Hey, James. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I just want to say I appreciate all the work that you and Tony has done with the ADOS movement. And we need more people like you guys to help us because Obama, he ain't did nothing. Anytime that Al Sharpton is on the TV doing something, and all Obama did was have a lot of concerts up in the White House. But anyway, I just want to thank you guys for all the work you guys are doing, and keep it up.
Appreciate it, fam. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for calling in, fam.
Oh. Okay, thank you very much.
He did have a lot of concerts. He did have a lot of them. I'm going to my next caller. I'm going to 301. 301, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Good evening. This is D calling from the DMV area.
Hey, what's going on?
And this whole Obama, I'm gonna lump both of Michelle and Mr. Barack Hussein together, and this whole exposure with that interview or talk that he had with Springsteen, just the more that man talks, the more he just exposes and pisses me off. And it just reminds me not only that when Michelle had that thing, I guess a year ago, where she made a point where she felt disappointed in black people with the way how we voted or something like that, and they come across like they really believe they did black folks a favor, and they're very smug. And I'm looking at her sideways also. I wonder about her dating pattern, because she basically helped validate Barack.
She did.
And I look back on it, the fact that, her going to Princeton and then going to Harvard, and I wonder about her dating pattern, and was she just happy to have a light-skinned dude, and what I was going to say in regards to Obama, the way how he just talked with Springsteen and he exposed himself. And I think the best thing that the Obamas, or particularly Obama, could do for black folks, particularly ADOS, is basically the best thing he could do is transition, and that way we won't have to hear from him anymore. So that's
I don't wish death on nobody. I just want to let y'all know I don't wish death on nobody. Well, no, most nobody. But that's harsh, fam. That's harsh.
That's the best thing he could do for us.
That's cold-blooded. Woo, that's cold. You cold. Woo.
Well, what's happened to black folks has been cold.
It's true. That's true.
ADOS in the U.S. has been cold. America's been cold to black folks.
That's true.
So, you know what? Spare me with being cold with him.
Ooh. All right, fam. I heard you, though. You said that with your full chest.
I said it with what?
Your full chest. You said it with your full chest. I was waiting on something else. You said
just the more he talks, the more he's upsetting to me. And every black person should be upset. The way how he talks down to black folks, the way how he comes across to black folks, and it kind of, everything's starting to make sense when you look back at when Jesse Jackson had that hot mic on him and what he said. So it all makes sense, and the more he talks, the more it gets worse. So, like I said, the best thing he could do is just be quiet.
You know what? I said this in the show, but gosh, George W. Bush did all that stuff, sent us to Iraq. To me, in my mind, just an awful president, right? George W. Bush, and I was just so happy when he went away and started painting, and I ain't have to be bothered with him no more. Man, go do something. They all into the money making. Go fish or, train hamsters. I don't know. I don't care. I wish they just on a money making hunt. And honestly, the books are enough. They're millionaires. Go sit down. They want to do this Clinton thing. They ain't got no global foundation though, not yet.
Well, yeah. Like I said, and him being there, the more he talks, he still has this, whatever for black folks are still enamored with him, Clinton. So, like I said, the best thing for Obama to do is he just needs to be permanently quiet.
Well, he ain't gonna do that. He have to try. He look healthy to me, fam.
Well, but I said, the best thing he can do.
All right, fam. I appreciate you calling in. No, I appreciate you. Woo! Some of y'all ain't having it. Some of y'all is not having it today. I am now going to 808. 808, I'm coming to you. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette. This is Coach Twitty. I'm going to try to be as politically correct as possible as you are when it comes to Obama, but I'm about to jump down his throat myself.
Uh-oh.
So, to me, I grew up in the ghetto. I grew up in Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn, New York, during the crack epidemic. And Obama, you know who Obama reminds me of?
Who?
He reminds me of the drug dealers in my neighborhood. He reminds me of the pimps in my neighborhoods, where for some reason the cops would leave those people alone in our neighborhoods, right? But the average person walking down the street, the cops would find a way to pull over, arrest, throw in jail, give them a record, really destroy their opportunity of, going through life and making something of themselves. But for some reason, the pimps and the drug dealers and all of those people who they've allowed in our neighborhoods, they go through our neighborhoods unscathed, just like Judas and Fred Hampton, you know, when I watched that, I was so disgusted by that movie, I almost couldn't watch it. But it just showed me how when they gave him a car, that made the difference for him and in the black community that had nothing, to the point that Fred Hampton jumped in the car and was ready to be driven around by this informant and this snitch. And so our community as a whole, you know, for some reason, we're so distraught and we don't have nothing that we tend to look up to the 1%, or at least the ones that, let's say, white America props up or gives something. And we don't really notice too much, I don't think, that they are the ones who really are with the white 1% that is okay with us staying where in our position, which is nothing. They don't want us to build. They don't want us to get smart. They don't want us listening to you and Tone, because had those kids and...
You see that, fam? Fam, you still there? We must have lost it. We must have lost.
Obama.
He came back. I already clicked the thing. Call back 808. We'll get back to you. Let me go to the next call. 562. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good. Speak up a little bit for me. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind? Speak up just a little bit for me.
Yeah, this is Jerome from Long Beach.
Hey, what's going on? Hello? What's going on tonight with the calls at the end? Jerome from Long Beach. Hello? I don't know if there's something going on with the line, but the last caller came in later. He came in a little bit late, so I figured this caller, if something's going on, he come in. Nah, he dropped. He dropped right off the line. The other caller didn't. 646. I'm coming to you. 646. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind? Uh-oh. Hold on 1 second. Let me see if I can fix something real quick. Hold on 1 second, fam. 1 second, please. 1 second. Something seems to be freezing up. I tell you, fam, sometimes if it ain't one thing, it's another thing. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. All right. Who did I say I was going to? Oh, 646. Okay. 646. 646, I'm coming to you. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette, this is Ron from Las Vegas.
Hey, Ron. How you doing?
Good. So, Yvette, I have an ideological difference or difference of opinion with you
Okay.
regarding this topic. I was
Good.
working one day at my company, and they sent around a menu, and they asked everybody to check off what they wanted on the menu. The chef would prepare it. I neglected to check off anything. And
Talk up just a little bit for me. Just a little bit. I'm having a little bit of a problem here.
Yeah. Okay. So at my job, they were circulating a menu. We could check off what we wanted. The chef would make it. I neglected to check off anything. The day came when they served the food. I said, I'm a vegan. I can't eat anything. It was all meat. They said, what did you check off? I said, nothing. When I look at the situation, I don't see Obama as the problem. I see that Black people, we have a tendency of symbolism. We look at symbolism and we tend to vote in that direction as far as and negate practical applications, negate legislation, negate laws that can benefit us. And we do it time and time again. Now, Obama, to me, we got to do it the first time, which was fine, for change. But I think the second time he ran, we should have been more hip and understanding that this man is not for any Black agenda. Obama is making excuses. I don't think this is about his legacy, his parents, his heritage, influencing how he sees things. And I've often heard it say, well, he's not ADO, so he doesn't understand reparations. I don't think so. I think Obama is vehemently opposed to any form of reparations for black people. Let us not forget that Obama went out to Flint, Michigan, and tried to prove that the water was not contaminated when it was contaminated. He does not care about black people. In fact, the people of Flint, Michigan just wanted a $641 million settlement, I believe. So we know that the water was contaminated, and what Obama did was atrocious. It was just neglecting these people. But anyway, anyone with any common sense can put together a study similar to HR 40 to look into this possibility of reparation, to look into how have African Americans or ADOS have been treated, throughout the course, redlining, Jim Crow, and you can extrapolate from that and see that there is an inequity there. You can see that there's a problem, and addressing it by saying, let's bring everyone up, does not address it from a surgical point of view. Surgery, you go in, your doctor, you're focusing on a specific organ. You're not going to be doing surgery on the entire body. That sounds ridiculous. So I think Obama is fully aware of the fact that that reparations is something that the ADOS people need, and I think he's just opposed to it. I don't think that it's because he doesn't come from a lineage of this.
I don't think that's just it either, right? Because you have to understand, I don't think it's just about not coming from the lineage that is the impediment. In the sense of, you had Conyers who put forth HR 40 before Sheila Jackson Lee. As far as I know, he was ADOS, and he was still running around with NARC and in Cobra saying it's for all black people. And he was us. So I don't think it's just about lineage. But I think, what I will say though, is I think there is no inclination to think deeply about it. Because it's not going to, when something doesn't impact you, maybe there's not an inclination to think deeply about that thing, right? But I don't think it's just that. But I would agree with you on one thing. I don't think, now I caught hell during the Obama years because I did have an agenda, and I said that we need to I said the re-election is the point to renegotiate with Obama in terms of black America, right? Everybody told me I was crazy, and that we just had to make sure that Mitt Romney didn't get in there. So I do agree that, there's a lack of seriousness among us in terms of you don't just vote for somebody just to make sure the other person doesn't get in here. That's especially, Mitt Romney I don't want him. I wouldn't want him as my president necessarily, but he's a regular Republican. He wasn't Trump, right? This is a normal Republican. That doesn't mean you prefer him. It just means stop acting like he's like a monster that you never saw before. Just say, listen, I want to vote for you, Obama, but we have to renegotiate the terms because you didn't do anything for us. So in order for us to come out, we need commitments. That never happened. And, I caught hell for trying to ensure that it did happen. So I do agree with you that that's a problem. We don't have a menu. In terms of this is what we want. All these are our agenda items. This is at the top. This is not the appetizer. This is the main course on our agenda, right? So you need to pick a main course too. You don't just pick appetizer. You don't just pick French fries, corn fritters, or mozzarella sticks, right? The little around the edge of stuff. You gotta give us a meal, and we never really did that, and to our detriment.
But I agree with you on that. But what do you have to say in regards to the continued way that we look at politics, we look at civil rights, in terms of mistaken symbolism for progress? Not to pick on any organization, but the 2 million man marches were just a waste of time. It was just a symbolic gesture that didn't have voter registration, that didn't really accomplish anything politically or economically. So I'm really, and when we look at just what just happened in terms of Biden, we're looking at, in fact, we're not looking at legislation or policy that we want out of this. We're looking more so at, look what Obama, look what, what's her name, his wife wore. We look at what they wore. Oh, look how cool they look. It's all about these external things that are meaningless,
Yeah, I agree with you. One of the criticisms that I always made about the first Million Man March is that they didn't even take names and phone numbers. During that time, you would have had to use clipboards, right? To organize people in their own communities. So the one thing you want to do if you have a bunch of people together in a space is you want to figure out who those people are, get their names and everything, phone numbers during that time. I don't know how big we were on the email. I had an email address, but I'm not.
Exactly.
But if they haven't, you want to be able to organize those people because you have them in one space. When you don't do that, you let me know that you're not serious about organizing and advocacy. And I agree. I mean, I saw more stuff about, and I like Michelle Obama's outfit at the thing, but it's just like, what does that mean for your life? What, you're not serious about politics if you pay more attention to like how good these people looked, versus what they did for you versus what the next politician is going to be doing for you, because they're at Biden's inauguration. You know, we don't pay serious attention, enough of us. You know, I think a lot of us now who are doing ADOS and doing this work do, but too many of us are still like, well, at least it's not Trump, and you still don't have an agenda from this person.
So, you know, the thing is, I think that I understand why we're upset at Obama, but I think that we have to take responsibility and accountability for us just allowing these individuals to ascend to these offices without holding them accountable for the Black agenda. And we're just, I mean, the people that I've talked to, and I'm part of the ADOS here in Las Vegas, and just friends and family members, you know, when I was talking to him when Obama became president, especially during the second term, you know, there was always this, the first term was like, well, he'll do better in the second term. And then the second term came, well, at least we just have a Black president. And you know, it's just this symbolism and just thinking that because the person is Black, that's progress for us. It's not, you know?
Well, you know, the thing is, let me just say this, fam, and then I'll let you go. But the thing for me is what I'm trying to figure out. I'm not as mad about it, even though I said again, I call hell, if we learned from it. The problem is that I'm seeing how many people didn't learn from that. How many people did the same thing from Biden? How many people expect different results after they're doing and have done the same thing? You're not going to get anything different. You're doing it the same. You're just going to protect the White House from Republicans. That's not the same thing as like getting an agenda for your people. It's not the same thing. And I think that's the problem. We just always get called in to like shield Democrats from, you know, a Republican getting into the White House. And I've said before that you might have to intentionally cause a Democrat to lose for them to pay attention and say, listen, these Negroes are serious. So
let me ask you this, Yvette, and I'll let you
last
go.
question.
You think that the media did a lot of manipulation into getting us to fear Trump in order to push us to the other side?
Well, thank you for my. I'll let you go. But I think what the media did, honestly, I think the media did a lot of. Oh no, we can't talk about that right now. We just got to get Trump out of it. Well, I have an agenda, and I just want you to look at my stuff. I got my stuff right here. No. We can't worry about right now. It's a fascist in the White House. We can't worry about that. The house is on fire. Like, I can feel it in my toes and butt. Like, that's what the media did. I think the media did a lot to like scream down people who were talking about an agenda and saying that we don't have time to worry about an agenda. We just got to get Trump out of there, as if we can't do both. So I think that was extremely problematic, and the media played a huge role in that, in just shouting us down so that we couldn't talk about an agenda that's good for us. So let me go to my next call. I'm going to 559. 559, what's your name, where you calling from, and what's on your mind?
Worry about it.
Turn your background down, 559.
Hello. Hi, Miss Yvette.
Hey.
Hey, I just want to say, first thing first, you're amazing. My sister actually got me onto your platform to hear you talk, and I think you're amazing.
Thank you.
What I was calling to talk about is just the audacity of Caucasian Americans whenever you bring up reparations and to talk about the African struggle. Just the ignorance of how they pretend to not understand the research behind why we want reparations, like the cause and effect of slavery, Jim Crow, and redlining. And they say, oh, no, that never happened. That never, ever happened. I don't understand how that all happened. It's just very interesting to me because I'm in a lot of circles of educated people. And when I sit with these people and have this conversation, I just never understand how we're psychology majors. We look at statistics and research all the time. And you mean to tell me you don't understand how this has led to this economic downfall of my people? It is just baffling to me. I never get it. I never do.
Yeah, it's just a stall. Like it's just kind of like language is important, right? And so I was going to do this the last show, but then this happened with Obama, so I didn't get to do it. But I was going to talk about how language is important. So one of the ways they get us to just stall is they'll say stuff like, well, there's a disagreement about reparations. No, there's no disagreement. Everybody is owed. We can talk about how it's implemented, and there can be disagreement on that. But there is no disagreement on the fundamental issue. Or they'll say, well, this controversial group ADOS. Well, no, how are we controversial? We really not. That's just something you made up. And so how people
blacks
use
are always
language.
Controversial whenever we say anything that's in support of African Americans.
There you go.
Or ADOS for specifically.
Always
We're always
controversial.
controversial or problematic.
Mm-hmm.
But any other group I've learned, I can be in a situation just like this weekend, and I can a Latin American can say, "Oh, I'm so proud of being Latin American." Then, well, I say, "Oh, I'm proud of being black," and I want my reparations. And it's that's offensive.
Why are you so divisive?
Yeah, that's offensive. Why are you saying that?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's crazy to me that they do that. And I never, like right now, I've been ever since I started watching your videos and everything else, I've always been Afrocentric. I've always took African American classes, but it just emboldened me more just to stand up for what's right. And I see that I am losing so many different friends from a different race because of the way that I talk about reparations and my people and how we deserve what's owed, and they just feel so like I'm just dogging them out when I say these things, and I'm like, well, why does me being pro-black mean that I'm anti everything else? I don't understand that. I never do.
No, and sometimes you have to understand too, sometimes you don't lose a friend, sometimes you just realize a person never was a friend, right? And that's different than losing a friend. Sometimes you realize people, you were never 10 toes down with me, you were 2 toes down. Right, because you weren't really invested in me and everything that kind of makes me and builds me and supports me. You aren't in favor of me getting what I need to live. So yes, we can be friends and we can just laugh and talk or whatever. But when I really talk about what I need to be whole in this country, that's a problem for you. Even if even if no individual white person would pay that, they will pay taxes on it. But it's not like I'm asking you to give me your whole bank account. You pay for bombs and all kinds of stuff, and it's okay. But all of a sudden, this is, I can't believe you want to do that. Hey, I don't know if we ever were really friends then.
And what's really interesting, Ms. Yvette, is that I had a professor last semester for one of my, and he's Caucasian, and he was teaching the prejudice and discrimination course in psychology. He asked us to write a research paper. The research paper that I provided was for reparations and the causes of slavery, Jim Crow, redlining, and so on and so on. He gave me a C- on this paper. This paper was a 12-page essay, and he told me that I did not provide a substantial information to prove my argument. And I thought to myself, well, sir, I took your child abnormal psych last semester, and you validated for me that childhood trauma can affect a person's development throughout their development. So if African Americans have been having these traumas for hundreds of years during their childhoods and slavery and everything else, you mean to tell me there's no afflictions gained from this? But you're teaching this to me, so I'm confused.
You're teaching this to me, but when I use what you teach me, to undergird my argument for reparations, you got a problem. You give me a C. No, you just oppose the reparations, and your bias is showing in how you grade my paper.
Exactly. I don't understand. They teach this knowledge. They teach all of this stuff, and then when you use it to explain, the black struggle, it's like, oh no, none of that research exists. That's not true. That never happened. It never, ever happened. And I just be like, oh my God, I cannot understand how you so blind to this. But you aren't blind. What you do understand is that being black is stronger than any other thing. And with that wealth behind being black, it's almost just, it's amazing of what we would be able to accomplish. I'm so tired of hearing pull up your boots and work hard when none of you actually even work hard. You're just feeding off the backs of these people who gave up their blood and everything else.
Let me tell you something. You ever been, that's the most trotted out phase. I'm not saying some people don't work hard, Like, you have people who work hard. You have some entrepreneurs, white and black, who work very hard. But I'm just saying, like, I never knew how many people in white America don't work hard. You ever went to a restaurant, this is pre-COVID, in the middle of the day, and you get there at like noon, you get ready, listen, they be there working. They be there from like 12 to 2, having lunch, chilling out, having a beer. You can't even, as a Negro, you couldn't even have no alcoholic beverage and then go back to work. You get fired. Like, they just chilling. And I'm just saying, like, we don't even understand how much they work. They work hard not to have to work. So they work hard early on a lot of times to put the work in so they don't have to work. So now you chilling. Like, that's the whole thing. That's the whole entrepreneurship thing. I'm going to put in work so I don't have to work. And like because of the social capital, a lot of times it's different. Not all the time, but it's different. So you reach that kind of place early on and you're like, yeah, I really work really hard. But yeah, you ain't did that in a minute. You've been taking 2-hour lunches and chilling. Like, this is wild. You know what I mean? So, fam.
It really is. And I just feel like, okay, yeah, we all work, but we can't subtract in the addition that you have that generational wealth to fall back on. Most white students, most whatever, they're not working a job plus going to get a degree. Me, however, I'm raising 3 children, single father. I'm getting my bachelor's degree. I'm working hard. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and most of you come from these backgrounds where if you fall off, you got your parents and their homes and the wealth from that to fall back on and rebuild yourself. Whereas most black people, we literally have to start from a foundational process and build on top of that to become great. Yeah. And even when we get great, as you said in a video previously, a degree does not mean or define that I'm going to be well off or have wealth. That just means I'm a smart person. That's all. That's all that means. That doesn't give me any money. That doesn't give me anything to really capitalize off of.
Well,
you guys have capital.
And let me just say something.
Come into the world.
Let me just say something, fam, and then I'm gonna let you have the last word, and we can go. I just want to say something too. Hard work is supposed to ebb and flow. It's just kind of like you can't keep your body under a certain amount of stress for a long time. If you're going to work hard for a while or whatever the kind of thing you're doing or whatever, you're supposed to finish that project and be able to chill. Like, you're not supposed to be working hard like a dog every day. You're supposed to have some kind of quality of life where you get to play with your family, get to go out, eat, and do stuff and have fun, go to the park, go for a hike. You ain't supposed to spend most of your life just, I gotta work, I gotta work, I gotta work. That's not a quality of life. That's not laziness to want a quality of life. So I'll let you say your last word, fam, and then I'll go to the next call.
Other than that, it was just really nice to meet you. It was really nice. I've been watching all your videos. And I guess what I do have to ask is, what else do we need to do to keep moving this on and making it productive, making it happen? Because I'm like really fired up about it. I want it to happen. I want it for my kids. I want it to happen.
Well, I just think we have to build and grow, fam. We're gonna be doing advocacy through ADOS HQ. We need to grow. We need to build. We need to make ADOS bigger. So we need converts, right? We need people to come into the movement, because I think what's gonna happen, and I've said this before, I think, ADOS and the rest of Black America are going to come to the terms of, a lot of them, we don't need everybody. Everybody can't come, and that's okay. To the realization that Biden wasn't never going to do nothing for us. But what has to happen in that moment is that we have to have somewhere for them to come to and something to come into. So we have to have chapters and stuff for them to kind of field into and say, hey, this is your answer, right? And so we need to grow into that, and then we can organize people to actually take on the stuff we need to take on. But like, what has to happen now is, in this moment, is growing and building in terms of organizing and advocacy. And so that's what we have to do. So I want to thank you, fam. I appreciate you for calling in. It was a wonderful call. I'm gonna try to get to some other calls really quickly, really quickly, and hear what everybody else got to say. I'm going to 267. 267, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette, it's Princess 6. How are you?
What's going on, Princess? I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm good. I just wanted to point something out real quick from the last caller. You mentioned earlier that your birthday was coming up, and I just want to point out that the last caller did refer to you as Miss Yvette. And the reason why is because you're getting old, and you're going to be older when your birthday comes next month. I just wanted to point that out.
Thank you for pointing out that I'm getting old. I appreciate you.
Yeah. You gotta stay on top of this type of stuff, Yvette. Now, Obama. Where do I start with Obama? You know what? It's funny. I voted for him twice, and my break with Obama was when his DOJ did not prosecute George Zimmerman for trademark. Before that, I had been in progressive spaces defending him. Like, I worked hard on his campaign. You couldn't tell me nothing about Obama. And, you know, Michelle was kind of secondary to me, but I really bought into hope and change, you know. And so I'm glad that I found you, like, after Hillary lost, because I would have been mad at you prior to that.
Everybody was.
Criticizing Obama.
Everybody
so,
was.
you know, they say everything comes at the right time, Yvette. But also, I find it interesting that Obama cares so much about the white gaze. And I think he doesn't realize it's to his detriment as much as he should, but it's absolutely to our detriment. And I think it's interesting that Obama never cared about what white people wanted or thought when it came to his own presidency. He never cared about what they wanted when it came to him going to Harvard and law school and being like the editor of the Harvard Law Review. None of that mattered about what white folks wanted. But somehow it seems to matter now what white folks want, you know? And so I guess...
Yeah, they didn't want you in the White House.
I don't think for me, like, whenever, like, when he did sign DACA, did he sit back and think, I wonder what, you know, descendants of chattel slavery is going to think? Did he, does he ever do that? And so my question to you is, you've been on Capitol Hill. You've been in these rooms where policy was being decided. And, you know, the losers were being selected and the winners were being selected. In your experience, have you ever come across a policy that was going to be detrimental to black folks and there was ever any thought or questioning about what were black folks going to think about this policy and how would black folks feel?
Never. I was actually in a room where the bankruptcy bill was being decided, which I expressed during that time was going to be detrimental to black people, and nobody cared. Nobody cared. Nobody wanted to hear about it.
I know they didn't care, and they haven't cared. So, like, I think there are certain things that we should not allow people to say to us, and one of those things is what Obama said, and that is what are white folks going to think. Because the part that he left out is really what are racist white folks going to think. And for too long, we have allowed racist white folks and what they think to run this country. And that's why on January 6th, you had an insurrection.
Well, yeah, and I think what I would say too is just like, you know, the other part about it is like at a certain point as a country, you know, a country always, the Civil War was a kind of reckoning that's incomplete, but at a certain point you have to decide like, no, what does justice look like? Not what will somebody think or will somebody be happy or will somebody be unhappy, but what does justice actually look like? Because understand, we've never asked that anybody just pay reparations all at once, even though you've proven America that you can. That's not a demand that we've made. We've never said that. We've never said we want all the money. We want all the monies right now. We said you have to close this lineage wealth gap, and we've never said that it happens this year. We can put a plan together. Like it's kind of like if you want to pay a bill, right? If the company calls you and says we need it all right now, then you be like, oh, you want it all right now? I can't pay a piece. I can't do. But if they say, hey, we can make arrangements, and you say, okay, let's do it. Let's figure something out. America's not even trying to figure nothing out. That's a problem. That's a problem, though, of will and your lack of wanting to do justice. That's not about what you're capable of, though. That's a different thing. So.
But you know what? And I want to bring this other point up, and this comes from, I won't mention her name, but she made a really good point about Obama and Biden, and she said that like black boomers really had they have rejected Biden over and over and over again. How many times did he run for president, and he
Yeah.
was flat out rejected
Lost,
by
yeah.
our black boomers. And and it took him being Obama's vice president for our black boomers and our black millennials. Again, this credit goes out to the person who shall not be named, for Biden to finally get in there. So, I mean, Obama, as I said earlier, he is the worst thing that has happened to black America in the 21st century.
Yeah. Yeah. I think people be like, thank you, fam. I appreciate
That's all I had, Yvette. You take care.
All right, Princeton. I'll let you. I think
Okay,
yeah.
bye-bye.
I think yeah, but it's because of who he was. Like, I think a wolf in sheep's clothing is worse than a wolf. Because a wolf I see coming. I saw George W. Bush coming. I saw Trump. Like you're in the best sheep clothing though. That sheep over there dressed just like me. But it's a wolf, or it's being controlled by a wolf. Same thing. Even if you're a sheep that's, and you mean harm, same thing. So detrimental. Let me go to another call. I got another 267 call. Another 267. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette, how you doing? This is Recognized Game.
Hey.
And I just wanted to tell you this is a great show tonight. I
you.
really appreciate the information you're putting out.
What's on your mind?
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, so I wanted to ask you because obviously we should definitely be paying attention to the bills that are out there and the edits and everything that Dr. Darity is putting out. But I was wondering, just to kind of get some things like concrete ideas out there, who would you actually want to see on the commission if you could choose? Even though, I'm not really saying it hypothetically, even though I know 3 members have to be chosen by the president, 3 members have to be chosen by Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, then there's 1 by the President Pro Tempore, then there's 6 members that are chosen from the civil societies and members of, reparations organizations. But I really don't think that we should allow government to choose any of the members of the commission. So I rely on somebody like you to kind of get out ahead of it and just just let them know who we want to be on the commission, even though we don't have the power to choose. But I think if we were to put some people out there that we believe in, then we could pretty much demand at least that they pick from that selection.
You know
so
what, fam?
Who would you, at least one person that you would like to see on the commission?
Fam, I would love to, but I don't do that no more. Like if the commission calls me, I will talk to them and tell them what I think. But the problem happens. The problem becomes when I do this show and I elevate people. Certain people believe that they have a certain amount of bona fides, right? And they go their own way and try to say I was validated by Yvette or whatever. And so I'm going to go and do this without conferring with her or anything, right? And so if I was contacted, I would definitely have names, but I just don't put that on the YouTube. There are certain things I hold close to the chest right now, and that's one of them.
I understand that. I was just wondering because I know it's a lot of speculation about what's in the actual HR 40, and I think once we come back with the findings, then I think we would actually have a clear idea of what it is that we're actually asking for. But I have one more question.
Sure.
In the AB 3121, which is the California reparations, I guess you would call it local reparations. I have a question also in the membership selection process for that particular bill too, because it says in Part D, this Article 3 and membership. Part D, it says members shall be drawn from diverse backgrounds to represent the interests of communities of color throughout the state.
You're gonna have to punt that.
Also have experience working.
You're gonna have to punt that to Antonio. Fam, you're gonna have to fam, you're gonna have to punt that to Antonio. He worked closely on that, and he would know more about that than I did. I didn't work on that, so you're gonna have to punt that one to him because I didn't work on it. Shout out to him. Shout out to Tone and everybody who worked on that and got that done. The intern there and everybody there. But I'm not as closely associated and don't have as much knowledge of it and the different appendices and sections as he does, so I wouldn't be as versed in answering it.
Okay. Yeah, because it just got me on edge because it says that the commission has to represent communities of color and diverse areas.
I don't know.
Of the
like I said, I don't know.
I'm just like confused about this whole bill.
I don't know. And there was some changes made to the bill, so I don't know whether that was one of them. There was a lot of changes made, so I don't know whether that was one of them or not. But I don't know. I didn't work on it.
Yeah, that's Article 3.
I know, fam. You can put that in the comments, but I don't know.
I thought reparations supposed to be for descendants.
Yeah, I don't know.
Africans,
fam, I don't know. I don't know, fam. I don't know I don't know what section. I don't have it in front of me. I can't answer your question.
No, I understand. I'm just saying, if you could touch on that one day.
No,
yeah,
but
really
okay, I appreciate you. I don't know though. I don't know.
But I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know if I'm
not
wrong,
either.
But it definitely says it's for communities of color.
I don't know. You done said that 4 times, fam. I appreciate you.
Article 3 in the membership section.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you.
I was just like confused about it.
I appreciate you calling in, fam. I got to get to somebody else. I don't know. I don't have the article. Like, if you're gonna call in with something specific, try to message me or something so I can pull it up and talk to you about. If I don't have it in front of me, I don't know. You're gonna have to talk to them. And to the intern who wrote it, who did the most work on it, and talk to Antonio and see what the change in the amendment was. Oh God, don't mention nothing 10 times though to me. I don't know. I said that 12 times. I don't know. Let me go to my next caller. Let's see. Who do we have? Who shall we go to? Let's go to 908. 908, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
How you doing, Yvette? This is Eric from Plainfield. How you doing?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm here, like everyone else, seeing the landmines blow up as we go on with this president, so to speak. But on the issue with Obama, I seen it coming. I never voted for the man.
Okay.
One reason, my instincts. When I see him speak, he speaks like a janky preacher. We all know janky preachers. They promise hope and all this, but they want something out of you. And at the same time, his speeches or his speech writer would take excerpts from different prominent black figures, ADOS, like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, going way back to a lot of prominent ADOS people. So I seen the scam, who is Obama. I seen the scam. So I was yelling this out to everybody, but everybody's like, be quiet. Be quiet. He's a black man. No, he's not. He's not ADOS. He's not a person with our history at all. If anything, he has more white history in his background than he do anything else. That's his lifestyle. That's who he is. He has a white mind. His mother's parents raised him.
Yep.
So he's going to have that mindset. He's not going to see the traumas. He's not going to see the pain. He's not going to feel it either. So why do we expect non-ADOS people to even care about ADOS people at all?
Well, I don't think a lot of ADOS people care about ADOS people. Like, how much of the Congressional Black Caucus is ADOS? Do you think they really care, for the most part? Like, and the thing is, like, they're constricted even with that, because how much of that is built on, like, how much money you can take from, like, for Cedric, whatever his name is. What's his name? Richardson? Oh, I can't remember what his name is. Well, he's the Louisiana congressman who now works for Biden, former congressman who works for Biden. Yeah. How much can he's taking a bunch of money from people who pollute the community that he represents, right? So the thing is set up without reparations that you can't even build something to kind of do what it is to pay to play. So we can't pay him. That still doesn't make it right. He's still a horrible, horrible person for doing that. But it's just like, I'm just saying I think it's complex is all I'll say.
Yeah, definitely is. But we have to, as we ADOS people always do, we move forward and we try to get stronger, even though, we have a lot against us, but we'll come out on top. We always do, and we always will. Our descendants are people who built this country. And we built this country on and on and on through everything. They lean on us for everything.
That's true.
Everything. So we will come out on top. It's just going to take the right generation and the right generation to help the next understand. And I think we're going to break through that. We're going to break through. It's just a short matter of time, but it will happen.
Okay. Thank you, fam. I appreciate you. I appreciate you calling.
All right. You have a good night.
You too. You
All
too.
right.
You too. You too, fam.
All right.
Apologies, fam. We are at the 2-hour mark. We are at the 2-hour mark, so that's going to be it for the calls for the day. I apologize to the people who did not get through. I know it was a lot. I wish the man hadn't gone on and on about him reading the bill. This wasn't see, people can't stay on task. This wasn't this is the Obama show. People can't stay. I'm gonna have to start having that down. Stay on topic. Stay on the topic of the show. And I don't know. Anyway, fam, I appreciate everybody calling in. It was a wonderful time, but don't ever forget who Obama is and who he ain't, and what that means in terms of our lives. Not because you just mad at Obama, but so you be okay and make sure that you don't let this thing happen again. That's why you can't repeat this mistake. People who we don't just look for people for a black president or whatever. We look for an agenda. Oh, next time they'll be like, we got an ADOS president. Yeah, that's fine, but does the ADOS president have an ADOS agenda? Not falling for that no more. But anyway, fam, please hit the like button. Please share. Please hit that bell and make sure you're set to always get notifications. If you want to donate, patreon.com/ycarnell, $breakingbrown for the Cash App, or donatebrown.com. But hitting that like button is absolutely free. Hitting that subscribe button, if you are not a subscriber of the channel, is free, right? These are ways to help the channel that don't cost you any monies at all. No monies, free. So it's a pandemic. I understand if you ain't got, hit the thing, no, hit the like button, do that stuff. That's good. I appreciate you, fam. And it's oh, it's quite a time. We living in quite a time, fam. But everybody, please wear your mask. You know, I'm gonna hear from some of you all who've been vaccinated, some who, YouTube actually can't really have that show, but I want to hear from some people, really. But listen, it's not over, so wear your mask. I saw somebody today who got COVID. See, I was hyper vigilant, and somebody messed me up. Now I got the COVID. So just be hyper vigilant and wear your mask, because you don't know how COVID gonna impact you. A bunch of people will get over it with a sea moss or whatever, and then they be telling you be fine, and then you be somewhat coughing. So don't nobody, even if you recover, you don't want to have it. I don't want to have the flu. I remember having the flu, having chills and shaking and throwing up. Some stuff you just don't want. You know what I mean? So anyway, fam, keep it easy breezy. Take care of yourself. Don't bother nobody. Don't let nobody bother you. And I will see you all here next time.